Hey everyone, welcome to the 24-25 District 1 preview. I'm joined tonight with, as always, my partner in crime, Glenn Kaiser, and seems like Nate, you were always here for the preview. So guys, fans out there, we know we're a few weeks late on this, but trying to get all of our schedules together, and Mike's behind the scenes right now. It just didn't work out that we got everyone on the same page. So better late than never. We're going to preview. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happened so far this season. We're going to start tonight with talking about new coaches, and we're going to break down the 3 videos where we talk about different things in each video, so that way it's easier for you guys to digest in different parts. Mike, like he says, is behind the scenes. He's gonna be one pulling up all the graphics, helping us out, making sure things move smoothly. But guys, thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate we were finally able to get on the same page and get on a call together.
Yeah, I can't believe we got a match already in too, Joe. So
yeah,
it's been a crazy start to the season.
Yeah, this is year 8 for the preview. We talked about in our first broadcast last week when we did the North Penn at PW match, and this was year 10. I mean, a full decade of pumping out videos, and we kind of reminisced a little bit about how we got Glenn on board, and Nate. We've really enjoyed having you come on for previews, and whether at the regional level, whether district duels previews.
Oh, wait a minute! Thank God we have Nate for the balance of the Pac-10 and the Suburban 1 League. I mean, it's refreshing for all the viewers out there, I'm sure.
They do have wrestling down south
we
too here in Chester County.
We have room for more if we get Central League representation. I'm all for someone from the Central League that wants to come in and help state their case as well. That way we can spread the love a little bit even further beyond our natural where we all kind of come from. But
careful when you invite Delco to the party. Yeah, thanks for having me again. It's always good to be here.
So again, year 8, and this preview has kind of evolved as well. Like the years we were in Mike's basement to now we're doing a call. Just again, life happens. We're all pulled in different directions. So like just getting on calls is the easiest thing right now. But I do kind of miss doing it in person with you guys in the basement. With that said, so
that was fun.
Well, Mike's a busy IT guy out there in the real world, so.
Yeah, and he's gearing up for a big weekend up at State College, going up for the college football playoff. So we're up against the clock getting all this stuff done. So without further ado, let's jump right into new coaches this year. And Mike's going to bring up the graphic here in a second. We look at our new coaches here on both the boys and the girls side, because we're not going to neglect the fact that the girls are in play now, and we're going to do our best to do as much coverage for them. Their preview came out. Their rankings have been coming out through our site, and it's great to see the buzz around girls wrestling and just how it's grown just from last year to this year after being sanctioned. But you look at we'll start with the girls side. We'll go ladies first. Bishop Shanahan fielding a girls team. Maybe sometime in the future just create some buzz and they can get a boys team back. I'm sure Nate would love just another team to cover down in the Chestmont.
Yeah, I mean, they got one girl on the team, Kevin Logue's daughter, Shannon, pretty good wrestler. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. I know, the school isn't supporting too much. They got to make their own schedules and pay their own way. But I think she's going to have enough success this year that they're going to get a little something going over there in Bishop Shanahan again.
So you look at some of those names you see on that girls' side, like, Russ Stankina. I have to imagine that's some relation to Shane Stankina, who's wrestles for Boyertown. Obviously, Patrick Chapman is a Hatboro Horsham alumni, not too old. I think Glenn, what year did he graduate from Hatboro?
Oh, I have no idea. Not that long ago. He's a young guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he's maybe 3 or 4 years out. Westchester, we got John Gallo out of retirement to do some coaching. And here's the one thing that observation I have is you see some female coaches in there. And I think that's awesome that, the females that have coached are kind of getting back and giving back. So that always is a plus. And then Dennis Mayhaus.
We saw a lot of female girls coaches out at the Panther. I was impressed.
Right, and I think that you're going to see that number grow in the years to come as the sport continues to evolve and grow. So big weekend for girls wrestling, Southeast PA. A lot of teams traveling down to Beast East. We were talking a little bit about that off camera, and I know someone posted on the forum about like where they thought, girls we thought would, or the girls that they thought would be on the podium, high on the podium, and in the hunt for it. And I won't be shocked to see a bunch of District 1 kids bringing medals back to Southeast PA from the Beasts.
Yeah, Joe, I just wanted to mention something that you mentioned, and so did Nate, talk about like raising your own money. Like getting the girls' team sanctioned at some of the school districts is very difficult, and we're very lucky to have the support at Hatboro-Horsham from our school district and our school board. So it's not an easy task to just get the sanction for a team for the PIAA. You got to deal with your own school district. So. And just getting back, Patrick Chapman was a 2020 graduate. So, it's like really refreshing to have a new program, a new wrestling program in your district. But it's a lot of work within the district to kind of get things going and then get a budget. Hopefully get your boosters, from the boys team helping out. So it's a big project. And I credit all these people, coaching the girls. I know John Gallo said it was a kind of a big task as well with combining the three Westchester schools. I know Central Bucks combined theirs three to get sanctioned, West, East, and South. So you're seeing a lot of that now too. So, kudos to the districts, but it's a lot of work, and the people that take over are the ones that are doing the heavy lifting.
So let's jump over to the boys' side, and you can see who the new faces in District 1 of the schools that had some vacancies. And again, some of the names are familiar, some aren't. Marty Scarpato is the new head coach at Chichester. Jared Zapito is the head coach at Great Valley, who we'll talk a little bit about. They had a big win last night over Avon Grove. The familiar former District 1 face on that staff at Great Valley, Mark Durant. From the days when he was head coach at Octorara, when Octorara used to be District 1 before moving back to District 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark tries to pull, the likes of Bill Taylor and Bear Stevens out of retirement to join that staff and get that band back together. But Jason Gribshot, Hatboro-Horsham, Glenn, that's near and dear to you. You being a grad, being a former head coach, and essentially being on that staff now too.
Yeah, I mean, he was a longtime assistant to me. Did a little time when he was down at Maryland doing some extra schooling, and then came back, coached through his brother, and then stayed on for a long time. I mean, he was pretty much my right-hand man for about a 5-year period of time there. So he has a lot of experience. I mean, he was actually going to be at Council Rock North as an assistant until he got this job and kind of got the itch to get back. So he's kind of really re-energized this wrestling warrior team at Hatboro-Horsham.
And help me out, Warriors, Hatters, like what I talked to the soccer coaches. They told me they're still the Hatters.
Yeah, we are the Hatters by trade, but not by trademark. We are the Wrestling Warriors. We use the warrior head as our logo. It's a Ralph Wetzel thing. They called them the Wetzel Warriors back in the 70s, and that just kind of carried through, and we've gone with it.
We'll come back and circle back about Marple Newtown. North Penn, Jim Swigard, former Wissahickon head coach, was Pottsgrove assistant for several years, back in the coaching realm. Got Rick Smith on his staff, who was a longtime assistant coach at Methacton with AJ Maida. And then they had just a loaded staff when we saw them wrestle the other night, Glenn. And
it's great that Ricky Smith. Yeah. Great that Ricky Smith's back in there with Jimmy Swigard. I mean, those guys are really, really good. Swigard kind of he can go high level energy too, but he's kind of more, grounded. And then of course, Ricky Smith, his energy is just, all over. So that's a good mix there, with an assistant like Ricky Smith with a lot of experience, with wrestling and just coaching in general.
Springford legend Tim Seislov decided to hang it up. His longtime assistant, longtime teacher at Springford, Doug Landis, friend of mine, took over, and they made a great hire bringing him on. Guy just knows the program, knows the tradition, knows what it takes to be a Springford wrestler. But we kind of talked. Like, he's got his work cut out for him. He's not he's taken over a team that just kind of maybe lacks experience, but one that is, I think, will get better as the season goes on. We'll talk more about that when we do rankings. But then let's talk about Marple Newtown and Sun Valley for a second. Marple Newtown first.
Yeah, just mention there that, can I just mention that Tim
Oh,
Sizeloff's
sure.
going into the Hall of Fame this year? Obviously, it's a no-brainer. Tim, it was his whole life, there with that wrestling program, and they've had some, spectacular moments. And he's going to be honored this year at regionals going into the Hall of Fame class of 2025.
Yeah, and then we talk about Marple Newtown having head coach, Artie Earl, unfortunately passing away this offseason. Our condolences to him and his family. He was, on the way of trying to rebuild that Marple Newtown program. Now it falls on the shoulders of Joe Becker to pick up the mantle and continue moving forward with it. So I don't know if, then we left Sun. Obviously, it was alphabetical order for Sun Valley, but also kind of good that we left it for last. Like Sun Valley also suffered a monumental loss as well in their program with Tommy Ellis. I think you can see Nate's shirt "Stay Gold" wearing an honor, and Nate wrote a great article about it. I know he's going to have more to say about Tommy, but Tommy was a friend. Tommy was a great guy, and you don't. If you look back at the years, if you go on the website and start tracking back the years to see where they were when he took over roughly 12, 13 years ago to where they are now, it is the program that Tommy built. He wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but I'll tell you what, he was passionate. He cared for his kids. He worked as hard, if not harder, than most other coaches. With doing the off season, getting those kids to higher level tournaments, building that schedule. They got to where they were because of his work. And his longtime assistant, BJ Barlow, another great guy. He's going to, pick up right where it left off and keep the ship going the right direction. I shared in the broadcasts for those that watched and you heard, I talked with Tommy some in the off season and he, before his untimely passing, and he talked about this was the year, this was going to be the best team yet. And, like I said, we'll talk more in the preview, the aspect of the preview where we talk about teams and rankings. But right now, the early results on what Tommy told me seem to be ringing true. And we're only like 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah, before Nate speaks about Sun Valley, I just want to say something about Tommy Ellis. That guy put in the work, 365. And these kids today that are wrestling, we know they're wrestling 365 days a year, training, working out. And Tommy just kind of epitomized that. And their program, like you said, Joe, really rose to the top over the last several years. They've been right there. I even remember back when I think, Tommy got into the first, they got into district duels way back when we had the 24 teams. So I know that that they are going to be wrestling for him, and they're a dangerous team. We will talk more about it.
Yeah, just a huge loss, just for the district and everybody that got the new Tommy Ellis. Just a unique kind of guy. If you knew him, you had an opinion about him. If you got to know him really well, I think that opinion most times was positive. Just very what you see is what you get kind of guy, hard on the sleeve, and obviously, yeah, that program is what it is because of him. He's definitely going to be missed, but a lot of those kids have bought into his "Stay Gold" mantra. The tattoos that he had tattooed on his fingers, a lot of them have "Stay Gold" tattoos on their bodies at this point now. So it's kind of the rallying cry this year for them, and I think they're going to be thinking about him and dedicating the season to him all year. And we're talking about Artie. When Tommy passed away in the summer, his liver actually went to Artie Earl in a transplant. Obviously, in the end, it didn't take, but it's kind of Tommy's last gift to one of his good friends. So kind of a cool story there.
Definitely, and thanks for reminding us of that. If you watched anything or even went to any of Tommy's services, you saw like that community came out in support of him and his family and mourned his loss. It was incredible, the outpour of support, not just the hero walk, but also at the viewing. It was an incredible thing to see. And it just shows you the type of impact he had on that community, on those wrestlers. We can't say enough about the loss that has left. But like I said, BJ Barlow and he already had 5 or 6 coaches on his staff. They're picking up right where they left off in Tommy's honor. And like I said, we'll talk more about the wrestling aspect of it in one of our later videos.
Yeah, God bless both those guys that we lost.
Yep.
I just want to turn the page. As we're doing this preview here, we're going to talk about some college recruitment. So Mike's going to throw the graphic up on the screen of who is already committed so far from District 1. And we're just going to, make highlight of those. And there's a lot of other big commitments coming soon from some juniors. Even as early as soon as last night, we had a big flip commitment that we'll talk about. But we have, you see Gage Botero going to Michigan, and we're very well represented. Brandon Carr going to Franklin and Marshall, Gavin Cole to Drexel. Gavin Cole to Naval Academy, Gavin Carroll to Drexel, Carter Euchre from Perk Valley to Bloomsburg, Colin Guy, big time recruit out of Quakertown going to Virginia Tech. Cole Haynes going to Upstart Arcadia program. Again, you can't say enough good things about programs that are getting started. We looked just in the past. We had Alvernia just started their program, and they're already nationally relevant. They're only a few years old. I think the 2019-2020 season was their first one, if not maybe the year before. They've become quickly relevant. Ryan.
Yeah, that's
Ryan
really good for Cole. Yeah, that's good for
Go
Cole
ahead.
Haynes there too, going to Arcadia. I mean, that's kind of a good fit for him. They're Division 3, I believe, and I think that's a good spot for him. I mean, I wrestled Division 3, and Division 3 wrestling is pretty good, and I think Arcadia is in a good spot to recruit here in District 1 and put a nice team together out there every year.
You got Ryan Hayes from Methacton heading to Sacred Heart. Chase Hans from Faith Christian Academy, Hall of Famer. Tom Hans' son going to Hofstra. Connor Hudak from Springford to heavyweight going to Bloomsburg. So we have, I think we have another graphic with some more coming up.
Some more Bloomsburg guys.
More Bloomsburg. Yep, Matty Shoemaker going to Bloomsburg as well. Another guy going to Pat Kelly going from CB West going to Drexel. Zach McFarland from Westchester going to Division 2 Millersville. Anthony Mutarelli of Council Rock South going all the way out to the Pacific Northwest to Oregon State, to the Beaver Dam. Aaron Sement yesterday flipped his commitment from Penn to Michigan. Chase Sigel from Downtown West heading to Duke. Max Stein from Faith Christian Academy heading to the University of Penn. Brecken Strickland going to Bloomsburg as well out of Sun Valley. And Jack Weldon out of Coatesville going to Millersville. And, Millersville program's tough. They're not too far removed from having a national champ. Nate will know the name. Great Valley kid.
Shane
Name
Runke?
escapes. What's that?
Was it Shane Runke?
Yeah, Shane Runke, national champ out of Great Valley via Millersville. So, we have guys going to the next level. There's some more juniors I know that'll be making their commitments as the season goes on. And to finish out, Blake Boyer from Kennett going to Kent State, going to the MAC, and just a plethora more of Faith Christian guys. Mark Effendian going to Princeton. Jason Singer from Faith Christian going to Lehigh. Mason and Shane Wagner package deal, both going from Faith Christian to Arkansas Little Rock, who's again a Division I program on the rise, and Kale Wiedemoyer from Faith Christian going to Lehigh as well. So it's kind of neat to have most teammates going to the same college.
That's a good thing, though. I think that's good for the programs.
So as we move along,
You're right there, Joe.
Yeah, I'm all right. Sorry, locked up for a second. We move along. We're going to talk, previewing what's going on. We had a lot of medalists coming back from last year, a lot of talent coming back. When we graduate, a lot of medalists, a lot of talent, state champs, a lot of state medalists. But as Mike puts up, our returning medalists, we're going to talk about all of them and kind of where we see them fall as the season progresses. So we have this group of girls coming back from last year, no state champs, but we had 4 runner-ups. And, a lot of those girls this year, obviously their goal is to get to the top of the podium. And, it starts with, and we'll go from those runner-ups from last year, Grace Nesbitt at 100 pounds from the Chamonix, Sienna Landrum from Downtown West. And again, Sienna spent the first 2 years of her high school career wrestling against the boys and had success doing so. Maya Krieger from Ben Salem, and then McKenna Atkinson, Chris Atkinson's daughter, who was huge and had instrumental in getting girls wrestling sanctioned. Chris has been a huge advocate for girls wrestling, and she was a runner-up this past year for.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say 50% of those 4 are gonna win a state title. I think McKenna Atkinson is, she's on course to win a state title. And I think that, out of those other 3, I think we're going to get two state champs. It might not be those, but Jamison Strickland, she is unbelievable. I got to see her wrestle at the Wetzel last year, and I just think she's phenomenal too. I think she's going to up her level on the podium too. So I mean, we have like 5 or 6 real legit, you know, opportunities for District One girls to win state titles. But I really think that we're going to see 2, maybe 3. District One state champs this year. I'm feeling really good. I think that girls wrestling has improved so much here in District One, along with across the state. These girls tournaments, just at the Wetzel girls alone. I mean, the people that want to come, the teams that want to come and wrestle in our girls tournament is amazing. North Penn is trying to do some big things with the girls tournaments, and obviously Joe Stabilito here, another big, guy that was a part of the movement for girls wrestling. William Tennant had their tournament. So just the local District 1 tournaments alone are drawing in top level talent here across the state in the girls, tournaments. So I'm really looking forward to a great season for all of our girls.
Yeah, and even you mentioned North Penn, their tournament. They're already talking about, because it was so big. They're going to have to add a second day at this rate. It's just just growing exponentially. Where that's going to be the commonplace. These tournaments are going to, these tournaments that started early and where they have, the already teams attending. Like using North Penn as the example, that they have the potential to turn that into like an early season, like huge tournament. 2-day tournament where you start bringing in teams from all over the place. Because the buzz is already there and the demand. So, they can have the opportunity to, if they wanted to, make it as big as like, Rock South has with Escape the Rock, where they can have one of the premier early season girls wrestling
Yeah,
tournaments. Definitely
exactly.
have ways to do it.
I think North Penn's jumping on that. They're feeling it. I think a lot of the tournaments that host girls now are talking about a third day to highlight the girls, and we're talking about that with the Wetzel. So North Penn's kind of getting a jump on it. And I actually said to Joe Stabilito, we're going to call the girls tournament the Stabilito at the Wetzel. So there's a lot going on with these girls tournaments, and obviously the Beast of the East showcasing the girls right now today and tomorrow. So I'm really impressed. I mean, Caroline Hadala, Quakertown too. She's got a shot as well. So this is a great group of girls that are going to represent District 1 up there in Hershey.
We look at the boys side, and Class Double A. We got Faith Christian has 8 returning state medalists from a year ago when they were state team champs. It's just
And
absolutely loaded
7
with
are in the
talent.
top 4. 7 in the top 4. Not even
Yes,
like their 7th, 8th place medals. I mean,
and,
Gage
let's be
Matero,
fair,
former
Gage
state
Matero is a
champ.
former state champ. Didn't have the best postseason and ended up finishing 6th. So you look at just the amount of talent that that team
Yeah, and throw
possesses.
in little Freddie Bachman too. May as well put
Yep.
him on this list.
Exactly. You have to imagine Freddie Bachman already ranked number 1 in the state. Joey Bachman ranked number 1 in the state. And Adam Waters as well. Like you have to imagine they're heavy favorites to repeat as champions. Believe all 3 won Ironman titles a few weeks, a week ago or so.
Yeah,
You're talking
they're
about.
gonna shatter records again in the PIAA, not just Double A, but here in District One, they are just shattering records year after year. And this year it looks like it's going to be where they just kind of blow every record out of the books as a team at both, the team championships and the individual championships. So I don't know if Mike keeps a lot of stats on that Double A, but I know that Rick Solofsky and I talk a lot about this, and he keeps track on these records for District One. So it's amazing what Faith Christian has done, and we talked about this long ago. Faith Christian really has built a program, similar to like Council Rock South here in District One. On the AAA side, and I don't think this thing's stopping anytime soon. I mean, we talked about how long it could go, how long would it last. It's pretty clear when you look at this list right here, returning medalists, and you talk about the class that just came in, and then guys that will come later. This program is, bar none, probably one of the best, wrestling programs we've seen here in District One in a long, long time.
To be fair, if not ever, let's
Yeah.
and You've been around. I've only been in the area roughly about 19 years. It is the most talented team, probably that I've seen in my time here. So
Agreed.
You just look at
you
some
know,
of
they
the
lost
names.
a
I
tough
mean,
duel. Well, Nate, I'm sorry to interrupt. They beat
that's good.
out all the best teams in the country at Ironman to win the team title, and then lost a match to third ranked Wyoming Sem in a duel. But it's safe to assume like they're just a better tournament team, or just early in the season maybe just things didn't go their way. I don't know with Sem, but they're going toe to toe with traditional powerhouses. They are one of those powerhouses now.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at some of the names: Stein, Hans, Waters, Singer, Whittemore. They're all going for their third state medal this year. Botero could go for trying to become a four-time state medalist. Obviously, Waters already has two state championships. I believe Kortnick is the only wrestler from District One with three state championships. So Waters has a chance to tie that mark. You can double check that if that sounds off. But I mean, and, obviously the Bachman's going to be right in the mix there too. It's a well-oiled machine at this point.
So we go to the AAA side, and we return a state champion in Dominic Morrison from Hatboro, and he's already off to an 11-0 start at the start of his sophomore campaign. A guy that's going to trend to be the next potential four-time state champ, and he has when you say next, you look at like next one in District One. Like we don't even have one yet, but that could change this year. And then Dominic Morrison is going to be the next one, not the next one. Sorry, Joey Bachman would be the next
Waters.
in line.
Waters will be
Um,
first if he can pull it
well,
off.
as I'm in Waters first. We don't even have one yet, but now we're already looking
Yeah,
at
yeah,
potential
we're definitely
for
planting the seed here for two or
right.
three of
Like
these
I mean,
guys
like
to pull that
you
off.
know, that's awesome to have this conversation. Be like, yeah, like all right, we don't have one yet, barring whatever should I get our first this year, and or I'm sorry, in 2 years get one, and then you
Yeah,
have
I think the hardest part here, for Dominic Morrison and the Bachmans at the lightweights, it's very difficult for the lightweights to kind of maintain because we know that these lightweights just reload year after year, with freshman talent. But Dominic Morrison this season so far, he's up at 121 right now, and he just beat some really really good guys at the Panther Classic out there in Altoona, and I was impressed the way he handled the bigger guys and just kind of game plan for that, and that was impressive because I was concerned about that, especially even the Bachman boys, being the lightweights. I mean, there's always a next young gun out there down low coming up. I mean, obviously Dominic lost the true power to the kid from, I believe, Northampton. So it's very difficult to do from the lightweight spot, but we have four legitimate District One guys that can now be four-time state champions. So that's amazing. That tells you where District One is right now.
Yeah, and we looked down the list like Curtis Nelson, just had a phenomenal postseason. Well, I take that back. He had a phenomenal state tournament. He got upset in regionals, and then had to come out of a first round match to make the state final and be a finalist for Ridley. You're going to look to improve upon that. Colin Guy, after winning a state title as a sophomore, was a runner up last year in a great finals match. Dean Bechtold ran into a buzzsaw and three-time state champ. Sean Kinney out of Nazareth. Again, he was just a sophomore last year. He's already number one in the state currently. And that someone that's looking to improve upon their position. We go down the list. Aaron Semets now finished, I believe, twice as a third place finisher at
I
the
think
state
three
tournament.
times.
Oh, three-time third place. So I knew two. Now, like looking to get it to the top of the podium. Pat Kelly had a great state tournament where he made the semis and ended up in fourth place. He's going to look to improve upon that. Max Tansini was in that loaded 107-pound weight class, finished fifth place. Gavin Carroll kind of came out of not out of nowhere. I mean, we kind of knew who he was out of District 1, but kind of put the state on notice last year with that fifth place finish in the state tournament. Quinn McBride, again, another guy that has had a great career up to this point. Finished as a sophomore, sixth in the state. Chris Dennis from CB West, a part of that CB West contingency where they have a lot of tough kids. Talon Hogan will not have the opportunity to medal again, as he is done for the year, from what we're told, due to an injury sustained during football season. Gavin Cole going to look to improve upon his spot on the podium, and Michael Spielman from Strathaven, who early returns on his work in the offseason, look like he's poised to improve his podium finish rather.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, Aaron Cement, 3 times third place finisher. That's almost it feels like an amazing accomplishment, but it might almost feel bittersweet for him because I know he wants to get to that final. I think he obviously has a great shot this year. Colin Guy looking to become the second 4-time state medalist from Quakertown, joining Nate Roth. So obviously that's something to keep your eye on. He's probably in line to do that. Another kid that's not on the list here, but just really interesting to watch this year. Council Rock South, Anthony Mutarelli, obviously won a national prep championship as a freshman at Malvern Prep. Didn't get to wrestle last year after transferring. It'll be interesting to see. I couldn't find it if anybody came from the prep ranks to win a state championship, to win both of those. I know Nate Desmond and Anthony Evaniski both won national prep titles last year after winning state titles in the PIAA, but I don't know if anyone's come from the preps to do it in PIAA. So I would think he's going to be in the mix. Obviously, I think he's ranked number 1 in 3A. So I mean, there's some high power coming out of 3A this year, which is exciting to see. You don't often see this many kids with that kind of resume already. I mean, you have 4 state champs in District 1, or 4 kids that have won state championships already in District 1, including the Faith Christian kids, and then a couple more that have made state finals. So just a lot of experience coming back, a lot of firepower, and it'll be interesting to see how things shake out.
Yeah, a lot of returning state champs is the key there, Nate. I agree. I mean, like you said, with Colin Guy and Butero as well. So that's impressive. Also, if you look down at the bottom of the list with Gavin Cole, obviously Hogan not going to get that chance, but Hogan, Spielman, Chris Dennis, and Gavin Cole. I mean, these guys are going to move way up on the podium, and even Quinn McBride is primed to do that too. Carroll as well. So I mean, I think you have guys. Tansini's got a shot, depending where he wrestles. What weight. So, and obviously Aaron Cement. Everybody's waiting. I think Dean Bechtol's kind of a shoe in. So I mean, this is just a year where our gold tally may be the highest ever.
Correct. And shocking that you mentioned a Bechtold, because you have really never bought into either of them to this point. So it's nice to see that you're in on it. And we can talk. You talked about Mutarelli not having a chance to wrestle at Hershey yet. There's guys. Some others that haven't had the chance for whatever reason. Blake Hostetter, John Smith out of Oxford. Already Smith has a win over Gavin Cole. I'm sorry, Hostetter has a win over Gavin Cole, right? Do I have that wrong?
Yeah,
it's Hostetter, correct?
Smith beat
Hostetter.
Right. And so there's 2 guys that probably I don't know, maybe would have got on the podium last year if not for injuries. And then you look back at AJ Court from Westchester Ruston. So like guys we thought maybe would have gotten on the podium at this time last year didn't even have the opportunity. And again, even at this time last year, I think we were still talking about Anthony Mutarelli going to states because it was looking like he wasn't going to be blocked by the PIAA. And then I believe it was probably the week leading up to Escape the Rock or in around there. I remember talking to fans at ETR, talking about how they overturned their decision and he was disallowed from competing in the postseason, which was a bummer for that Rock South team because they were poised. I wouldn't say they're a favorite, but they were in the mix to be district state duels champs, and that kind of really hurt their chances. And then just robbing him of that individual postseason opportunity. So I think this is going to be a good year for District 1. And again, I don't like to bring this up and bring light to it, but I'm gonna just I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. We as a district get hurt more by private schools, prep schools, than anyone else for that across the state, across the board. We're
for the coming back reason. I
Right.
I I would have bet my life that Mutarelli would have wrestled last year in the postseason. I think I was pretty, upfront about that off camera. I just thought he would get back in, but yeah, it's terrible for the kids coming back. Going out's easy. There's
Yeah.
no penalty.
But just
So
we
it,
you know we
it's
had
it,
so go ahead.
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, listen, you look across the state at these teams that are, building. I mean, Faith Christian, obviously, in our own backyard. I mean, it's not easy for these kids, to make these moves. But I thought Mutarelli was one that actually was justified to wrestle and should have been cleared. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, every year there's a case. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, it's not in District One this year.
All right, now we're going to change gears. We're going to start talking about the incoming freshmen and talk what we know about their potential impact here in District 1. And we look at freshman girls. We got in the pound for pound rankings, we have Nev O'Brien from Garnet Valley, Shannon Logue, the lone member of the Bishop Shanahan team, 9, Jenny Gautreau, 142 for Owen J. Roberts. That name may jump out at some people. That is the younger sister to Sam Gautreau, who just finished third and is for Owen J. Roberts and is now down at the University of Maryland Wrestling. And then honorable mention Kai Zapicki out of Strathaven. I know Nate talked a little bit about Shannon Logue earlier when he spoke, and Jenny is definitely I can speak to that. I've known the family for years. Great kid, works really hard, and is poised to get on the podium this weekend and kind of have like a coming out party at the Beast.
Yeah, and Logue, you recognize that name. Cousins wrestled for Father Judge a few years ago, so a really good wrestling family, and she's got a couple younger brothers who should be pretty good wrestlers for Great Valley one day. So she definitely puts a ton of work in. Exciting to see how she does at Beast this weekend.
And we look at the boys. So these are rankings that come from PIAA Power. And right away, number one top incoming freshman, Freddie Bachman from Faith Christian Academy. Heavy favorite to be a state champ as a freshman. Dan Dennis, younger brother to Chris Dennis at CB West. Decker Bechtold, another Bechtold that Glenn can essentially bet against at all times. Comes in, he's going to be a 215-pound freshman. He's 32 in the overall incoming freshman report. Chase Williams, 107-pounder out of CB East. Schaefer Hoffman, the 7-pounder at Dangtown West, off to a good start. I'm 99% sure he was a Chessmont champ. Nate, you can confirm that, correct? King of the Chessmont?
Correct. Yeah. He rolled through the chestnut. Yep.
Yep. Jacob Carr from Sun Valley. Again, another name you recognize out of that Sun Valley program. AJ Kane out of Rock North. Again, another brother of a wrestler already in the program. And then you look at honorable mentions: Bo Kosmalski from Great Valley, Braden Laird from Ridley, Scott Lampew from Garnet Valley, Mason Siegel, shocker, another brother, Downtown West, Carter Soto, Owen J. Roberts, and Shane Young from Faith Christian. Carter Soto already living up to the hype a little bit. Early season win over Quinn McBride from Penridge, returning state medalist. So, there's these freshmen, like Glenn mentioned earlier, like there's always turnover. There's always guys coming in, always guys that are going to be, wrestle and be super successful. And we've already seen it. That's why, to Glenn's point, it's really hard to repeat as a lightweight because there's always like next man up. And you can see based upon all the weight classes here, like look at, you have Williams, Hoffman, Carr, Kane, Siegel, and Young. Now Young is double A, but they're all 107 guys.
Yeah, look at all the 107 pounders here, and I mean, there's another Bechtold. What? That's unbelievable.
Then there's one more. There's another one. It's in 7th grade.
Yeah, so just want to mention, like you said, Joe. I mean, you beat me to the punch, but Carter Soto already has a big win over Quinn McBride. It was a crazy match too. But he got the dub, right there out of the gate. Week one, at the Boyertown duel. So that was impressive. I want to talk about Daniel Dennis. I mean, obviously he's in the top 25 of the top incoming freshmen in the state of Pennsylvania. That's really impressive. But I saw AJ Kane in person. This kid. I mean, I don't know how he's ranked 59 as the incoming because this kid is amazing. He's an amazing 107 pounder. And then you look, above him, Chase Williams from Central Bucks East, got to see him in a scrimmage. Schaefer Hoffman from Downingtown West and Jacob Carr from Sun Valley. I mean, this is an unbelievable loaded weight class at 107 right here with freshmen. And it makes it, so hard, for people to kind of repeat because these guys are going to spread out then too. So it's interesting. It's an interesting 107-pound weight class. Throw in Mason Siegel, and of course Shane Young on the double A side. So kind of going right where I talked about. And Freddie Bachman and also Braden Laird at 114. It's good to see Ridley having a really good kid come in early for that squad, and a Great Valley kid. So and Garnet as well. Kind of Garnet, obviously, kind of trying to come back around too. So this is a great class. I mean, one of the best classes we've seen in the last decade. I mean, in my mind, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like you do these rankings, you normally see a couple, sophomores, juniors, maybe even a senior at 107. This year, it's almost all 107. Obviously, Downtown West having two of them at 107s, not great for the lineup. And I know Mason Siegel's a little underweight at this point. Didn't get a chance to see Hoffman Carr at Chesmont. Carr was at 114 that day, and then they just missed each other at the Cumberland Valley tournament last week too. So that definitely excited to see how those two square off. I think that'd be obviously a pretty close match. And yeah, you just seeing a name that you haven't seen much excitement from in a long time. Great Valley on the list. Bo Kosmowski. They have another freshman, Chase Lamada, who's got a big name in District 1. Obviously, his father was a state champ for Conestoga. So just a little excitement around Great Valley is pretty neat to see. Just a team that's really struggled the last decade plus. So
I'm
yeah,
sure
it's
Rob
there's a
Begley
lot
would
of
disagree with that.
yeah, well, he wasn't there last night, so. But yeah, I mean, you can just see it's good to see that influx of this kind of talent coming in and kind of spread out as well.
All right, so that's going to conclude our first of the 3 videos that we have for you guys in our preview, and we'll be back with our next video, and we're gonna talk some more shopping about this season upcoming, talking about some rules and all that fun stuff. Again, Glenn and I talked a little bit during the broadcast last week. The age of a 2-1 match is almost gone. It's just there's just like kids are just lighting up the scoreboard based upon the changes. And we'll get into that in the next video. So thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned and we got more coming.